Sharing Space
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
25 minutes before 12 o'clock. Time for the Sharing Space. I miss hearing your stories. Was I here last week? I wasn't. That's why I've missed the Sharing Space. This is where we share our stories, things that have happened at home, in the office, while you were on holiday, while you were taking a walk, running, whatever it is. This is where we come and share our stories. And some of you often ask for advice. Others just want to share your stories and you want to know if the other listeners have had the same experience. So I always appreciate you sharing your stories with us. How do you do that? Very easy. You send an email on cm@702.co.za. That's cm@702.co.za. Today, we've got an email from Anonymous. I'm going to read it. When I'm done, I want you to, if they're asking for advice, please be kind to give advice if you can. If they're just sharing a story and they wanna, and maybe you're listening and you're thinking, oh, I've gone through the same thing. Share with us how you've dealt with that particular experience. So here we go. Hi, Clement and your listeners. My daughter has a matric dance this coming weekend, and it's been a really stressful time preparing for it. As her mother, I have been trying my best to make her day as special as she wants it to be. Over the past few weeks and months, I've noticed a trend of really extravagant matric dances at other schools. Parents are having parties before the matric dance. The dresses are luxurious brands. The cars are exclusive and expensive. This is a big concern for me because even though she knows we're not rich, my daughter has now made some unreasonable requests for her matric dance. I think she still feels a lot of peer pressure. For example, we had already bought her a dress. She now wants a new, more expensive one. She also wants a different hairstyle and a different car to the one we had agreed upon. I can tell that she doesn't really want these things, but she just wants to be like the rich kids at school. I obviously do not have the money for this, and she will take what I can give, but I'm interested to hear from other parents out there about how they deal with this matric dance pressure. And to the parents who go above and beyond for the matric dance, what informs this and how do you justify it for yourself? Anonymous, thank you so much for your WhatsApp voice note. So what I'm picking up from Anonymous is that the daughter is putting her, as the mom, under pressure. Because the daughter is being put under pressure by her peers. And what Anonymous wants to know from you is how you normally deal with this kind of pressure from your daughter. In fact, I asked Bongani this morning, my colleague Bongani, and he said it's better to teach the kids at an earlier stage. They must know what the parents can afford and what they can't afford. Don't do it. Don't wait until it's too late. And I do think, Anonymous, that if this is what you can do for your daughter, that's it. And your daughter needs to understand what the limitations are, what you as her mom is able to do for her and what you are not able to do for her. And I don't think you should put yourself under pressure to respond to the pressures that she's being put under at school. And look, I understand children are probably putting pressure on each other like crazy at school, hey? They talk about their dresses and who's designing a dress, or they are getting a dress from this place. This is a car they're going to come in. And the kids probably start feeling like, I'm not going to arrive the way that other kids are going to arrive. Like this puts so much pressure, not only on these students, but on the parents as well. So are you a parent? Maybe you're a single parent. Maybe you're not. How have you dealt with the pressure that comes with this matric dance season? And Anonymous is asking that for those parents who go above and beyond for the matric dance, what informs this and how do you justify it? I also don't think we must try and manage how other parents who are able to afford go about, doing and celebrating the matric dance. Because some, as Anonymous says, they'll have parties before. They'll have parties after the matric dance. Some will bring in a limousine. Some will bring in the most expensive car. to drop off their kid. But I think what's more important is the conversation that you are having with your child. We can't be ashamed as parents to tell our children what we're able to do and what we're not able to do. And they have to learn that. And I know when you're young as a child, it's very difficult to understand that. I know when I shared a story just yesterday of how my mom used to give me money for grocery when I was at university sharing a room in Sunnyside with three people in one room, and we used to, in a flat, a 2-bedroom flat, but one room we were sharing between 3 guys, and we used to contribute money for grocery, and my mom used to send money later than the other guys because she needed to go take a loan and borrow money. It was messy, and I remember I used to be so irritated by that, and I felt so bad as I was growing older and I'm getting more mature, and I'm thinking, what a brat I was for being angry at the fact that my 2 roommates have received their grocery money and I haven't received mine, even when I understood the limitations that my mom had. And that's what is a lesson for me and what I would like to teach my children. And I think as parents, we need to have that honest conversation with our children about what we're able to afford, what we can't, what the limitations are, what they're not. Let me know your thoughts on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702, 19 minutes before 12.
The Sharing Space
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
Going up to 15 minutes before 12 o'clock. Straight to your calls and your WhatsApp voice notes.
Hi, Clement. Very interesting topic that you're talking about right now. The peer pressure, unnecessary. I'm telling you, for me, I must make a disclaimer. But I told my lighty man, Naliana, we made a deal. I said, hey, Chief, listen, fortunately in his school, so the grade 11s are participating, when there's a matric dance, they go and assist. So he came back and I said, what did you see? He said, I saw all this fancy car. I said, my man, we make a deal. I'll give you 50K cash if, choose. Either you do this or you get 50K cash. Straight, we had a deal. Says, Daddy, I'm not going there. Yeah, next year, make sure you have my 50K. So I know where I'm working to. I feel like we're putting ourselves in a lot of strain as parents, unnecessary. The economy is tough right now for a one-day celebration.
But he says, and then the person fails after you've spent so much money and invested in that matric dance.
Mr. Manyathela, this thing of matric dance is becoming nonsensical now. Teachers, they are not being honest. They are the second parents. They are not getting paid for being there just to teach curriculum. They must teach these students a broad picture of life. These things of peer pressure, they must be guided by the teachers so that it does not happen in the school environment, and then the parents will follow. How come teachers allow such things?
Clemens, how incredibly stupid these matric dances are. They should abolish them, even the standard 5 dances or grade 8 or whatever they call it. Parents are under such pressure to put food on the table, provide a roof above those children's heads, and provide transport to school and pay the school fees. We really have got our priorities wrong in this country. It's like people over weekends drinking, being drunk, but then in the week not being able to afford the money to get to work.
Stephen, you're calling from Alberton. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Clement?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, listen, man. The other way of looking at this thing is, right? I was telling the producer that we grew up very poor. My background, right? I only learned very late in life that we were poor. How our parents did it was to accustom us to the way of life that we could afford, without sitting us down and telling us their financial woes. Because you don't want to burden kids and take them way beyond the stage of being a kid before they get there. Because how you do this, you accustom them to the way of life and the affordability. I'll tell you, I've got friends of people with kids that cannot afford certain things, but the kids would voluntarily say, "Dad, I'm not going to the matric dance."
Yeah.
I think it's an over embellished thing, and it's a nonsensical thing, because they can understand that their parents cannot afford, and they in turn do not want to burden their parents. The flip side of that coin is that parents who cannot afford, very early in life, they are accustoming their children or getting their children used to them getting out of their way to give them things that they as a family together they cannot afford.
So
and then there will be an expectation by kids that my parents will always get out of their way.
Yes, because they've done it before, so surely they can push boundaries and make this possible too. Yeah, Stephen, thank you for your call, man. Semi, you are in Pretoria. What are your thoughts?
Hello?
Sure.
So, Clement, unfortunately, in this case, at this point, there's nothing that the parents can do. There's nothing that she can do, because it seems that over time, she's always had a child to be accustomed to the idea that whatever I want, my mother will buy it. And right now, it's coming back to bite her, Clement. So if she never taught the child that I've got financial limitations, then the child has always had the idea that no, she'll buy it, she's got money, whatever I want, she'll buy it. And that's why she keeps making unreasonable demand. When we were growing up, Clement, there was this shoe called Cavella. At the time, it was cheaper. All the teenagers, we wanted it. At the time, it was 625 rands. My parents never bought it for me because I accepted that, you know what, they have bills to pay, they've got to take me to school, they've got a house to pay and so on. So I'm not going to be like other kids. They'll just buy the Reebok sneakers, right? So if you never told your child that you don't have money, the child will think that you are rich. And then, Clement, we can talk whatever we want. There's nothing that she can do. She's stuck. She has to figure out a way to please her child.
Yeah, Semi.
If you keep feeding at the crocodile, Clement, it's going to end up eating you.
Yeah, no, Semi in Pretoria, thank you. Did you say Cavella was 600 at some point?
Yes, when I was teenager in the 1990s, like 1998.
Oh, okay. We were being born then, because I remember it being 1,000. So,
yeah.
Okay, I do remember. And that was also the thing. I mean, young boys used to pressure parents to buy me a Cavella, because it was a thing in society to be walking around with a shoe that cost, well, at the time, 1,000 rand was quite a bit of money. Let's go to more of your WhatsApp voice notes.
Hi, Clement. Hope you're good. Keith here from Springs. I'm part of CPF in our community, and last week they had their Matric prom, and kids were coming in Mustangs and McLarens, but it's actually a government school. School fees are really low, and some kids were very extravagant, and some kids came in normal cars, Havals and Chinese cars and other standard cars. So peer pressure is massive in schools, and kids are obviously competing with each other. We obviously just need to teach our kids that, listen, this is all we can afford and all we have, and life goes on.
Morning, Clement. My advice to the anonymous is do for your daughter what is in your capacity. Don't do more than that. Don't put yourself in unnecessary debt. I have a situation at home where my sister borrowed money from my wife for her son's graduation or matric dance, and it just so happened that my sister was not able to pay her back, and it was a huge amount of money, and this was a couple of years ago, and up until today my wife and my sister don't talk, but that totally broke down the relationship. So I ended up paying my wife back the money my sister borrowed. So do whatever is in your capacity and not more than that. Don't put yourself in debt, and your daughter has to understand. If you raise her properly, she will understand.
Yeah, and you know what's so tricky about this matric dance phenomena is it takes place, you know, just before the kids finish school and they go to university. You know how expensive it is, that first year of university? You need to buy a microwave, you need to buy a fridge, you need to find a flat, you need to pay a registration fee. There is a lot of money that goes into that, and I am shocked to find out how much people are spending, even on just hiring a car. Sam on Twitter says, Clement, the money that parents spend on matric dance is insane. I was paid 10,000 Rand for my Range Rover. It was literally a 2-hour job, and I was done. I couldn't believe it. 10,000 Rand for a Range Rover to hire it out for just 2 hours? Oh, that money would buy a fridge, a nice small bar fridge, a 2-plate stove for some who are moving into a flat. Yeah. But also it's unfair as well to say to the kids, and of course, let me say this first. If you can afford it as a parent, it's also okay to have a conversation with your child. Be frank and say, we just simply cannot afford it. But I do think that parents at some point want to do the best for their children. So even if you may not be able to give them the luxurious vehicle and the dresses, the brand that they want, but making sure that they are also part of the celebration is also important for your children. But then balancing that and the little you have with the pressure that comes from the kid who now wants these crazy things because they think you can push boundaries, that's something else. More of your WhatsApps.
Morning, Clement and the team. You know, the pressure of what's happening right now with the kids is so... sometimes you try to explain to your child what you have and what you don't have, which I do most of the time because my son is 16 and in high school, and I get the feeling that he sometimes compare himself with the other kids. And I tell them, I will give you what you want or what you need, and we need to plan. You can't just get everything at that time. So if you tell me now, Mom, I need this, then the end of the month, when I get paid, then I will do what we need with what we have. So this pressure is a lot, and sure, it's hard. Even if you explain, you can't fight it. It's rough nowadays. It's rough.
Afternoon, Clement and your crew there. It's Veronica from Straight View. I think, especially black people, we must teach our kids not to live their neighbor's life or the colleague's life. They must live your life in your house. Because this thing of, hey, my neighbor is driving a BMW, I want it, doesn't work. I taught my kids all that when they were young. They are old now, they've got their own things, and they still know that they can't live their neighbor's life. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, good morning, Clement and team. I just got in my car, listening to the topic, waste of time and money. Just as isiko lokwaluka, I know I'll get under fire for that, but parents are paying or spending hundreds of thousands of rands on a weekend event, and then the child stays home unemployed. That money could have been invested in a small startup for the child, or even a car. Some of them have this big celebration of coming back from the mountain. You don't even have a license. You can't even drive. I think we need to think deeper about these things. Yes, I'm not saying they're not important. I'm not discouraging them, but I'm just saying some things we need. We need to think deep. Are they worth it? Like the guy that said he'll give his lighty 50K, but to do what with it? To do what with the 50K? Have they discussed that? What is the 50K going? Is it going to be a deposit for a car? What is it going to be? Just to chill and blow it up with friends?